The misrepresentation in the Evening Standard yesterday of a statement that was put out by two of the members from Goldsmiths UCU. We're simply going to have straightforward statements from the people involved, and also we have here John Wadsworth from Goldsmiths, Des Friedman from Goldsmiths. We also have Ashok Kumar, who is the Education Officer from LSE, and Claire Solomon, who's the President of ULU here, who also would like to make a statement. I will ask people to come into this chair in front of the microphone as they do that, and then we'll open up for questions. So, over to John.
If you can identify yourself.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm John Wadsworth, the President of Goldsmiths College UCU. I'm going to make a brief statement to you. First, we do not condone violence. Secondly, we do understand the students' anger. And thirdly, that we do not want to see the students scapegoated for government policy. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm Des Friedman, the Secretary of the UCU branch at Goldsmiths. The bigger issue for us is the devastation that is set to be caused by the government cuts. At places like Goldsmiths, where we face the abolition of the teaching grant, we see a real devastation of the university sector. That was the point of the statement, to draw attention, and we applaud the tens of thousands of staff and students who took to the streets on Wednesday afternoon. They made their point, and we feel that it shows that people will not be passive when faced with the cuts that are about to be unleashed by the government. We hope you read the statement and you will see how we have been misrepresented. Thank you very much.
My name is Ashok Kumar. I'm the education officer, full-time education officer at the London School of Economics, and I'm speaking in my personal capacity. I think, I'd like to recognize what the people who spoke before me said, that it can't be seen, and it has been seen sort of in a vacuum, and it needs to be contextualized. The fact is that NUS and the Metropolitan Police expected 10,000 people on Wednesday. We saw 52,000 people on the street. News media saying a small minority was outside the Victoria headquarters. Fact is that there were nearly 5,000 students there for over 3 hours. And it's not a small minority. It was genuine anger that came out. And I think that it needs to also be recognized that from LSE's perspective, the number of students that were there from LSE, I can honestly say it was their first demonstration, and they were also extremely angry. And so I'd like to say that it's the events that took place were born out of anger, not just a handful of students that were interested in being provocative. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Claire Solomon. I'm the President of the University of London Union. I wholeheartedly support the students and lecturers in their struggles over the last couple of days against the outrageous attacks on our education system that the government have been trying to impose recently. I also applaud the 10,000 University of London students that were able to make the demonstration with us on Wednesday, and I know there are many, many more students that do want to get involved and will be continuing the resistance with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, any questions from the floor?
John, can I ask Tom Hamilton from Sky News? You say that you understand the anger that we saw around Millbank Tower this week. How do you justify the actions that led to?
I was on the march, and I saw that anger not just outside Millbank Tower. I saw that anger all the way down Whitehall. Okay, I'm not prepared to add anything further to that.
So do you have nothing to say about the wanton criminal damage, the possible attempted murder charge that was could be being faced by one member of that crowd?
I have made a statement. I have nothing to add to that statement.
So you won't say anything that will actually...
I have already said that we condone the violence.
We do not condone the violence.
That we do not condone the violence. Sorry, to correct that. We do not condone the violence. I've said that we understand the students' anger. I have said that we do not want the students to be scapegoated.
So
Okay.
you think the violence is justified?
I have said we do not condone the violence.
Yes.
If you can't understand
No,
that,
there's a difference. One is condoned, one is saying...
we are not condoning the violence. I have nothing further to add. Thank you.
Could I just add, the violence in our statement refers to the impact of the cuts, both in education and further. That's what the statement refers to. So again, I implore people to read the statement, and to, if they do read the statement, they will understand why we felt it necessary to support the tens of thousands of people on that demonstration.
Hi, Alison from the Press Association. Can you tell us whether you think that it was right that students were arrested, and if they should, you feel that they should be charged?
Student Union.
I think the full details haven't come out yet. What we've heard from the media is, and that's where the sources keep coming from, is a repeat of a cycle of a fire extinguisher being thrown off a roof, this and that. What hasn't been shown, and what I haven't seen at least until recently, is that 5,000 students on the bottom in unison shouting "stop throwing stuff" and booing sort of wanton violence. Now I think we need to question this notion of violence, the idea that the media is saying that the cuts are inevitable, but broken windows is extremely violent, and it's on a repeat cycle. I think we need to really deconstruct what that means. It's not a question of condoning violence, but it's a question of seeing how this kind of terminology perpetuates a certain notion in the public. So in regards to the arrests, we can't really respond until all the information comes out.
Do you admit perhaps that they were misguided in what they were doing? The Millbank Tower complex is owned by some of the biggest philanthropists in London. The offices of other companies, innocent companies, were involved, the Environment Agency being one. Was it misguided what happened?
I think he's already given a response to that question. Any other
I
questions?
don't think he has, I'm afraid. I don't think he has. Could you explain if you think that it was misguided, the violence, because it targeted so many innocent people who had nothing to do with the Conservative Party or the Liberal Democrats?
Can we take a next question? We've already moved on.
This is largely to the two sort of student representatives. A current survey by London Student has already garnered about 1,000 responses. Admittedly, it is open to all people, not just students. It currently shows that a majority condemn the violence and condemn statements in support of the violence and in support of the students protesting with violence. I just wanted to say that I know, Ashok, you have condemned the violence. Claire, you've been more supportive of it, perhaps. And I just wanted to say how you propose to represent a majority of students that you are the representative for, if it seems that most of them perhaps don't condone that violence.
I don't accept the...
No, you're going to have
Sorry. I don't accept the legitimacy of the survey as, by your own words, the questions themselves are skewed, they do not tie together, and when it's done through the majority of the students, then perhaps I will consider the evidence here. I understand why the students were angry. I understand that they were goaded and provoked by both the police and by members of the staff within the building, and I do not condone the violence towards people that perhaps might have happened on the day.
So, sorry, can you explain how were they provoked by the police? How were they goaded?
When we were in, when people were peacefully protesting, the police were hitting them with batons, and I have evidence of this. There were also people on the balconies, and we have video footage of this as well, making hand gestures, rude hand gestures, shouting at them, jeering at them, and I can understand why students felt totally provoked by this.
This was staff.
Yes.
Can I'd like to, from the chair, bring it back to the issue. The whole reason for calling the press conference was to get away from the misrepresentation of the demonstration as being purely about violence and as being critically about the massive costs that are going to devastate higher education.
I'd also like to point out that the statement, when it was taken up immediately by academics and researchers around the country, and we have here, so far it's reached hundreds of people who have signed it. We have been flooded with support for our statement because people recognise